unauthorized use of hit music.
The #1 station for the unsigned artist. QSJ Radio. On www.qsjradio.com. You start here.
In 3, 2.
Welcome to QSJ Radio's MadLuh, digging up the underground. This is a traffic light, aka whatever you guys call me on the internet these days. We dig into the underground to uncover independent artists' creative voices and the stories that shape the music you don't hear anywhere else. Tonight, we head across the underground scene to sit down with rising UK singer-songwriter STE Morris, right? An artist blending thoughtful songwriting, live instrumentation, emotionally layered storytelling into something that feels both intimate and cinematic. We just heard Woe Is Me, that's available for SoundCloud, Spotify, and all other major platform things. But with releases like Foxtrot and the Pint Pot and tracks including Woe Is Me and Hit the Stream, STE Morris has been building a sound rooted in authenticity, live performance energy, and poetic reflection. Today, we'll talk about songwriting, artistic identity, the realities of independent music, and the stories that are hidden underneath the songs. This is QSJ Radio. STE, or Steven, as I know you now. Morris, welcome to QSJ Radio.
Thanks, Dave. Yeah, well, you can call me Steve. It is short. It is short for Stephen. Yeah.
Okay. I know you was catching that. I was like, let a pause there. 'Cause I'm like, wait, is this like a nickname that ended up being something bigger, or?
Well, it's just what all my friends call me. It's what all my friends have always called me. It's short for Stephen. It's quite common in the UK to short Stephen to Steve rather than Steve. Not as common as Steve, but it's common in my area, and it's there's a few other Stephen Morrises in music, such as the drummer from New Order. So I thought, well, I'll just use the name that all my loved ones use when they talk to me.
Yeah.
So
Steve, how you doing, Steve?
Yeah, good. Yeah.
One of the things is that I've noticed is that your music feels deeply personal. Like, while sounding cinematic and expansive, when you start creating songs, where are you chasing emotional? What are you chasing first? Are you chasing the sound first, or are you in your feelings first?
Well, it's for me. It usually starts with the harmony and the melody. Yeah, the lyrics come later, although they are the lyrics are close to my heart and are quite emotional. So I've been writing songs for a long time, and Woe Is Me, for instance, is a bit more. I did that years ago, and I was a bit younger and maybe more naive. That's just really about relationships changing. But with some of my other songs, some of my more recent songs, it's a bit heavier. It's a bit more reflective on what's going on in the world and things like that, and how you deal with that.
I'm going to tell you personally, I started with Woe Is Me because there is, I'm at a specific time frame in my life where these relationships with my children have been a little bit like, what is going on here, right? I always find myself in a dad kind of conversation. And I just want more dad friends to see if I'm the only one going through this, because I appreciate my friends for being listening ears and everything, but you really don't. Some people just don't get it when I'm like, especially dads that really been there, to be told certain things. And then when I'm listening to Woe Is Me, I'm kind of like, in the midst of, was it me or was it them? Or is it me or is it them kind of thing. I don't know the story behind Woe Is Me, but it does resonate with me a little.
Yeah, it's not a specific story. It's just a general feeling about how things change between people, I'm not a dad, so I can't help you with that aspect.
But we still could be friends. I just need more dad friends.
Yeah.
I'm telling
I'm old enough to be a dad friend, so that's all right.
The title Foxtrot in a Pint Pot, that's a big name for a song. What inspired that title, and what does it represent about the phase, in this phase of your artistry?
So Foxtrot in a Pint Pot that's quite a recent song. I wrote it last year, and I decided for that to be the sort of the flagship song for my solo project, which I started last year. Really, the phrase itself was just something me and a friend were laughing at in the pub. It's hence Pint Pot, you know. But what I used it for really was to describe what you would do, what you do when the weight of the world is really on your shoulders, and you feel completely out of control of everything that's going on, and all you can really do is say, well, sod it, let's go to the pub and have a foxtrot in a pint pot, you know, which really means go and drown your sorrows with your friends, because you can't fix what's going on around us.
The manager of a fifth-lit and toted force, who defied forever came at the highest price. I guess it's time for another foxtrot in a pint pot. We do the foxtrot in a pint pot. We sip the foam and talk a salsa.
Single is the push for new music that is coming out. Foxtrot in a Pint Pot, definitely a long name, but you know, it makes sense now that we know the story behind it. And now I want to get into the social media. The social media, like STE Morris has been just in the studio, recording in the studio, and sending it out. Your live clips have a very raw and intimate feel to them. How important is live performing to understand how STE Morris is as an artist?
Well, it's extremely important. I mean, I love performing live. I love doing gigs and stuff like that. But when I started this solo project, as it were, I wanted to really push it, and I've not done so much socials in that way before. But I decided to post a short video, not every day, because I don't have the capacity for that. But every other day, every other day I've been posting a live video, usually about a minute, maybe 2 minutes long, since started March 2025. So over a year now, I've not missed every other day. So I'm pleased with that. But yeah, it's important because it's, especially in the modern AI era, I think it's nice to see people just playing music, and it is raw. Sometimes there's mistakes, you know, but I practice every day in my studio, and sometimes I'm playing with a band, sometimes on my own. So yeah, I just decided to put a camera on it all, really, and take the best bits, you know.
Yeah, you got like, I don't know. I feel like this online thing is a whole new job. I feel like it's a whole new job. I you know, when I was young, and believe it or not, I'm kind of like out there. I used to have the camera in my face all the time. I'm not gonna lie. I was eating popcorn. You're getting it. Drives 6-7 hours. Facebook Live, when that started, oh my God, all in my face. But now, like, if you want yourself to look like what you're doing, this is what I want to be known for. It seems a little bit harder. And I think it's a little bit harder for you because you're also balancing vulnerability and self-protection. Like, because some of this stuff is very personal lyrics of yours. And I've always wondered about, you know, is this really meant for specific people to hear, right? Like, this is my message to you, since you won't answer my phone calls or you're not listening to my messages. Do you ever hesitate before releasing something so personal? Because I feel like somebody's gonna catch on and be like, "Is that song about me?"
um, well, actually, no, I don't hesitate at all. I think that one of the things that attracted me to music as a kid was just that, that connection with the artist through the lyrics and stuff like that. And I've been doing it for so long. It's just a natural thing, really. Although most of my friends never remember my lyrics. Like they'll come to a gig and say, "Yeah, great gig," and they forget the lyrics. So maybe I'm hoping that if I push it out there into the internet, more people will learn about who I really am. I don't know, but yeah, I don't think about it too much. I just love expressing myself, and I just do it.
I love that. That's I feel it's like almost like a freedom of release or something like that. But I came across Hit the Stream, and I know that you released this right before the holiday of last year, and it has an interesting title because it's I don't know if you're saying you're being deliberate, or is it because it's it kind of commentates this day and age with consumption of streaming. Like it is I found myself personally, I don't know if anybody does this, man, and I'm sure people do, but I have to give myself 10 minutes on an alarm and say, okay, you got 10 minutes of doom scroll, and then you gotta go. Because 2 or 3 hours later, you're in a rabbit hole and you don't believe that the plant lives off photosynthesis anymore. Like you're like everything is gone, right? You have a whole thing. I don't know. I love the way that the Hit the Stream hits, but Hit the Stream, the title, I feel like it's almost a deliberate like press play, please.
Well, it's definitely about live streaming. I actually wrote it during lockdown, but I've only just started playing it as part of my solo project. But yeah, really, it's about. I mean, the first line is "Heart emojis outnumber the thumbs," which is one of my favorite lines. And float away, because that's what they do when you're streaming on, Facebook Live or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's really the song is really about how we all dealt with lockdown and how we everything was streaming then, wasn't it? Like it just all our personal interactions were streaming, and because we couldn't see anyone. But it does stretch further into the present in ways that you've said, and it's a big part of our life, and it's what we're doing right now, isn't it? With the way we're talking to each other.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of that in there, but yeah, that's essentially what it is.
If you guys are just tuning in, we're talking to STE Morris. I'm gonna say solo band member. Is that it, or do you have a full on band? Because I feel like
Yeah, so let me explain that
I'm
if I can.
a little bit confused.
It's all the music is written by me and it's released just under my name. However, as we said before, I do value playing live, and I've got a band that play with me, and they're called Slow Glass. So when we do a gig, we build a STE Morris and Slow Glass, and it's two of my close friends and really talented musicians, Kev, Travis, and John Lee on drums and bass, and so they back me up because no one's really solo in music anyway, are they? So you've got to collaborate. So that's why a lot of my live videos you'll see some other guys, and some of my live videos with other friends as well, other musician friends that just want to jam with me and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, so while we're going to take our little break, I want people to hit the stream. Okay, go ahead! Exclamation point guest. If you're listening to the podcast off the pre-recording, you can check out STE Morris's link tree with all the information wherever you want your wherever you want to make sure you hit the follow. Make sure you hit the like, the subscribes. Make sure you, come on, guys. Are you kidding me? Watch this. Listen to this song. Tell me you're not convinced. This is Hit the Stream on QSJ Radio.
After day, finding ways to entertain ourselves, take our minds out of the situation, dressing down the state of the nation, fabricating our expectations.
You know, a lot of that, you are correct, does resonate with current times. You know, I know a lot of people just don't do the Facebook Live thing no more, or maybe they do, and I've stepped away. Online has become one of the worst emotional places for me. So, like, I started going on TikTok for myself and for the show, right? Like, let's put people's stuff out there. It's the only reason I'm really online. Other than, I have a big family and I want them to know how I'm doing. I had a career in my early that was really, it took me away from my family. So I really just posted online for my family and I did a lot of this QSJ stuff. And I love both of them. But then, after the post, what's next, right? So after the post is, okay, so who else is posting? Who else is live? Who else is, going on? And slowly but surely, you're just scrolling, you're finding out that there's, I have a demographic of musicians. So I'm learning about new musicians. Great. And then all of a sudden, I'm having my dad issues, as we spoke about earlier, right? And then I'm finding out there's a lot of dads out there, but they're, creators. I don't know how you could be a dad creator because there's moments where you're not going to show that online. You're not going to show the dad parts online. You're just not, because that's people coming into your door taking your kids away because you're frustrated. You're just like, or things like that. But anyways, like, I really like how this was written, and to know that this was written during lockdown. And for those in the States, if you guys don't know what lockdown is by now, it's COVID time. Okay. And like, I got to bring that up because, some of our people here, man, they just do what they want, man. It's just like, they didn't even live that time or something, but it was real. Like, people followed rules, not because we were scared. It was because it was the best thing to do. And the best thing to do was to stay home. Like, look at it now. Nobody really wants to run to the club. Everybody just wants to stay at the house, and for those percentage of people that are continuously going out and doing big things and pursuing dreams, you will be the ones that make it. I am going to be at the house, okay, watching you make it. But as we see this and as I hear this, it's more of, and I'm trying to figure out a way to say this. When you hit the stream, it seems like that's the only time people really believe something. Is like they have to see it in a video. They have to calculate if it's AI now. No one understood what AI was going to be. I thought it was going to be a little help buddy at the office. Next thing you know, it's becoming something taking over, legitimizing artistry, all this other crazy stuff. I'm a 90s kid. I seen the Terminators, bro. Like, like, it is scary out here. And I don't know if my microwave is going to attack me one day, but I do have a feeling that it's going to say, you might want to reheat that sausage biscuit again. Like, leave me alone, bro. Yeah. But times is crazy. Though this was written in lockdown, almost a decade. almost a decade ago. Think about it. We're going into 2027 here, and 7 years since the lockdown, and I don't think things got better for humanity. What do you think?
No, I don't think it got better at all. You're right. One of the lyrics in Hit the Stream is hate and love, indifference, all based on misinformation. And you know, because when we were in lockdown or during COVID times, that that's all there was. There was good stuff, bad stuff, but there was a lot of misinformation around, and it just confused everyone and created some pretty polarizing situations. And it's no different now, is it? Let's
No,
face it.
it's not.
AI is making it even worse because we're getting to the point where we really can't believe even a video if we see a video of something, So yeah, that's definitely reflected in that song, and yeah, I agree with you.
It's so sad right now. Like, I don't want to get too much into it, but then I think about a lot of things. I think about all right, let's think about fast internet, right?
Mm.
Everybody wants fast internet. And then people want fast internet in the mountains. Right? But if you love nature, you don't want fast internet in the mountains, because then you disrupt nature by bringing technology into its midst. So then you contradict yourself, right? You want certain things everywhere you are, but you have to understand that when you're at this specific area in your life or location, there's going to be things that are not going to be there. Okay? That goes with family, friends, emotional stuff, physical stuff, everything. What gets to me is that once something of tech gets past its whatever peak, or it becomes better, then all of a sudden it's a danger to humanity. I'll take it for instance. I don't know if it was 5G that came out, where everybody, and this happens a lot, okay? I think the time that cell phones came out, you put cell phones in your ear, you get cancer. Crazy. But I do believe that there is always a fear when technology surpasses itself, when it grows. It's the same thing when a child is growing up. The parent is not seeing the changes because they've developed whatever, like the fundamentals for them, and they took those fundamentals and ran with it, and now they're a better self because of you. But because you didn't create the extra change, it becomes scary. It becomes a situation. And I hate to do this right now during this time, but the thing is like, it's the same thing with the music. There is a time where it sounded the way it did, and there's a time that it has to sound now, because there is a underground thing or statement that people use where it kind of sounds dated. Well, I don't know what that means, because music to me sounds like forever, right? When people visit new countries or is involved in new cultures, one of the biggest introductions is, what's your music sound like? What's this? What's the first art that can actually touch my senses other than my eyes and my hands, my ears, right? You want to hear it, you want to feel it and stuff like that. So during this, hitting the stream and everything like that, and I'm listening to it, and I'm sitting here as like, there is such this thing where information, even if it's good, bad, truth or lies or fabricated, because sometimes the truth is kind of bent a little bit, that it's coming too fast. I think it's coming too fast. I think that, like, right after this, I'm going to go and try to get a nap, but that's a goal. That's a goal.
Good luck.
Right? Exactly. Thank you. So, but I have a feeling that I will be distracted by technology, and it sucks, because I don't think that's I don't think that's really natural. I think you need the break and time for. But it sucks is because the only way that me and you even know each other is through this. Is the connection that that it brings to us, which it could be for good, and I wish it was more of that, but that's what feels so good about good things, right? It's so rare. It sucks because that's the truth of it. There is good in humanity, but the publicity is that we're bad to each other. And I don't think that's real. I don't think that I think that is the biggest misinformation out there, is that there are more bad humans than there is good. But that's just whatever. That's another
It's a
thing.
good thought.
There's something timeless about your songwriting approach, because we're talking about a song that was written almost 6-7 years ago. And do you think modern music moves too fast for artists to fully develop anymore?
Well, I mean, you've said so much, but
Oh,
so I, I, I don't. I'm not sure modern music moves fast in that way. So you were mentioning things. Things could sound date. Some people think things sound dated. I'm not sure that's a thing anymore either, because when I've got this sort of pet theory that music's kind of matured around about the year 2000. And I think there's a good reason for that. I think it's actually related to technology. So yeah, if you imagine a quick whistle stop tour of music history, around about the 50s, you started getting electric guitars, you got rock and roll, you got 4-track recorders in the 60s. In the 70s, you got early synths, and then we started getting like new wave music. To get towards the end of the 80s, you've got EDM,
yeah.
electronic music and stuff like that, all the way up to about 2000, and that's when Pro Tools was created, which is a digital audio workstation. And from then on, you're really at the point in the technological history of music where you can do anything with sound, right? Anything, pretty much. And especially now, even if you take it close to the present, you really can do anything. And on my computer, I've got infinite instruments basically. And now we're getting into AI, which can just generate the stuff. So it's really, music technology is highly mature, and as a result, the idea of the genre is or the new genre has kind of gone away. And if I speak to a lot of young people, and like young people can be into like 80s new wave, or 70s reggae, or there's nothing. They're not into the music of their time. You know what I mean anymore. Which I think is great, because I've always been into all music, all styles, and music from all time, right from Bach up to now. So yeah, that's my like weird take or reaction to what you said. Although I don't know if I answered the question.
No. That makes a lot of sense. I've noticed with my own children that they're singing songs before I even knew the song. And I'm sitting here like, wait, hold up. How do you know about In Sync? Like, and even though that's pop, that's in the 20s, you know what I mean? For us, it was kind of,
it's still 20 years ago, isn't it?
It was like, it's bubbly. It's like, but then when you start listening, they go back a little bit more into the 90s, 80s, and things like that. And there's this great take, and that makes so much sense, that there was a maturity peak, and now the music. let me add to this dumb analogies I got in my head. Now the music is taking meds.
Yeah. It's having a midlife crisis.
Oh my God. I gotta go to the doctors. Anyways. STE Morris, how long you've been doing this? Because it seems like there's a lot of history there. You mentioned a lot of century-old names in there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've been so obviously, as I've mentioned, I've just started a quote solo career, although, you never really solo. But I've been in bands for many years. So I was in the notable, sort of notable. I mean, I've always been unsigned, but always been grassroots. But the notable bands I've been in, I was in a band called People in the Basement from around about 98 to about 2006. And we did a few albums and a couple of EPs and stuff around that time, all based around Manchester, UK, where I'm from. After that, I joined a band called Jesus Can Evil, which I'm actually still technically in, although we're not doing as much as we used to.
Okay.
With that band, we did 4 albums, and the last thing we did was an EP in 2024. So I've been active for for the best part of 30 years on the Manchester UK music scene. Basically, I used to run a studio, small studio in Ashton, which is just to the east of Manchester. I did that in the early noughties as well, just kind of helping out young bands with demos. You don't call them demos anymore because bands just release.
They just release. They don't.
They don't demonstrate. They just.
I try to defend them because they're not done. They're not broadcast ready. So I'm like, they're just throwing out demos. But in reality, it's like their new hit single, and I'm like, what? This is.
Well.
But yeah, I get it totally. They don't call it demos no more. Oh my God. So doing that for a long time, I know that I know that you breathe, eat, probably poop music in so many ways. And
usually,
of course, from the late 90s till now, and you've seen the development and you've dealt with DAWs, as you've been mentioning, there is a reconstruction of music going on that actually keeps you in the new. It keeps you in the new. Looking back at your earlier work versus what you're creating now, what do you think changed most about your creativity?
I think probably what's changed most is the maturity of the subject matter, really, in the lyrics. So like, really, if we compare to the songs we've discussed, So Woe Is Me, I wrote that a long time ago, and versus Hit the Stream. Hit the Stream's quite specific in terms of describing a zeitgeist in a way, whereas Woe Is Me is kind of, when I was younger, it was more about emotions and relationships and things like that. Now, Foxtrot and a Pint Pot is kind of, it's describing a reaction to the world, which I maybe wouldn't have done so much when I was younger. I've got some new songs coming out. One of them is called Demons, which is about the AI superintelligence, race to superintelligence. So, I probably wouldn't have written about things like that in the past. In terms of the music as opposed to the lyrics, I think I've got more experience. I've got more experience in melody and harmony and stuff like that. And although I'm quite proud of what I did a long time ago as well, but I think you learn, you refine your songwriting technique, and hopefully experiment with more interesting ideas and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a progression.
Staying in the scene also introduces you to new artists. I know that. It does. I like the way they did that. That's great. Do you find yourself always inspired? And if anyone specific that is in the underground scene that has been inspiring?
Absolutely. I mean, there's a few bands I can speak of immediately. So there's a band from a place called Colne, which is about 30 miles north of me. They're called All Hail Hyena. And they're an alt rock band. They're absolutely fantastic. So I've seen them twice now. In fact, I've gigged with them twice. And I really encourage people to look them up because they're just marvelous, really inventive. Kind of on the prog prog side of alt rock, but not too much.
Okay.
You know, it's not too heavy, but like really catchy but interesting ideas. So they're great. Locally to me, there's a great scene. There's lots of good bands. There's a band called Heavy Salad. You can look up there. They're kind of a bit sort of 60s influence, a bit psychedelic, you know,
Yeah.
almost hippie, but in a really good way, in like a catchy and sort of mature way. They've got some
I'm
great,
gonna need some
great
happy
vocals.
music in my life. Oh my god.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, if you Heavy Salad will make you happy. Definitely. Yeah. There's loads of bands local to me. There's a band called Sugar Crease that are just wacky and crazy. Got this Avid Fan who I've got their t-shirt on right now.
Okay.
They're like a punk, like a post punk kind of gnarly but sweet vocals. I could go on forever. There's so much going on locally. It's amazing.
You know,
It's
I knew the list would be long when you said you ran a studio, because the in and outs of who comes in and out. There's only a few people that could deal with that, because you're gonna hear some crap, and then you're gonna hear some great stuff. Like you're gonna all at the same time. Like it's so, and only few people have ears for that. I knew the list was gonna be long, especially because you're nonstop. It's just going. You know, because I've been doing this for a long time. I could tell you so many people a list. Thinking we're hitting the tens of thousands already of how many, which is a lot. You know,
Yeah.
You know when remember when you would get these like ads, and they would say, you know, download millions of songs, right? And they were like, there's not even a million songs out there. They're just BSing you. I really believe there's millions of songs out, billions by now.
Billions, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just in Manchester, so I you know, I'm going scrolling Instagram or whatever, and I follow all the local bands, and I keep finding new ones all the time. Like, how can there be? There's 1,000 bands within 10-mile radius of me. You know what I mean?
With like 4 pubs. Where are they playing that? Where are you guys playing that? Like, that's one of the biggest things I've seen from unsigned artists, especially those who are active, getting out of the city. Is that something that you encourage, and is something that you have done, and good and bad days of that?
I definitely encourage it. It's very difficult. Yeah, I mean, for me, so Manchester's like sort of the second biggest city in the UK, so it's a good place for music. There's lots of venues and stuff, but getting out of there is quite difficult. I mean, I've played in London a couple of times years ago, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure it'd be worth it for me right now. I could go down to London and play to people, but that, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to start my YouTube, my socials, is to try and build up an audience further afield, so I can, because I've seen people do that, and there's some. I'm a bit addicted to music YouTube, so there's people like, you might have heard of Mary Spendo's, who just started a YouTube channel, and she's massive now, and still very independent, but can tour the UK and stuff like that. So I thought, well, maybe if I can build up an audience, I can get further out of my radius,
Yeah.
But there is. I mean, I live outside of Manchester, and there's so like my local pub is called The Railway, and it's a music venue, and it's wonderful and very inviting as well. So I'd just to cap it off, I'd say definitely you should just try and play wherever you can. I mean, don't go out your way and get yourself out of pocket to play to 2 people.
Yeah.
But gradually try and expand your sphere of influence.
So that was one of the things there. A lot of people don't understand. I seen this post one time. It was a few years ago. Was unsigned artist that said it. That said, my music career is becoming expensive. And what I knew what that meant as someone who is watching independent artists, where you just mentioned, don't go out of your pocket to show up to something that you don't know if that's going to be beneficial. And those are some of the biggest risks that artists end up doing. Somebody will throw a flyer together, it looks amazing. People and here in the United States, we probably worst scheme ever is somebody from a label is going to be there, but you've been promoting independent artistry for a long time, but now you're super excited because you're trying to get on noticed by a record label, and then next thing you know, the fee is incredibly arm and a leg. It's super far away from you. You believe that because you're the one traveling the farthest that you'll get any kind of like love for that, but in reality they don't care. They just care about your money. But it is one of the risks that independent artists, especially if you really want to see what it's like when you're not home, when you're, like you're not, you know everybody in the crowd. I mean, your ex-girlfriend's in the crowd. Like you're trying to change your environment, but at the end of the day, is something. I've seen a lot of things going on where people are kind of saying the old school way is not going to get you noticed anymore. The old school way meaning exactly what you were talking about. Playing locally, everybody knows you, everybody knows your names, your songs, and things like that. But now you want to broaden your horizons a little bit, and it's not to take the risk to actually go. Because then what do you expect? You don't, and not everybody's going to show up for you unless you got a super fan, and those come one in a million. But now the risk of online, because online is a different beast, because you will have people that actually will tell you that you're trash, and then you got to deal with that. Like okay, thank you for listening. I always try to tell people you can't refund the music, right? So if they listened, you won. If the feedback is horrible, then okay, you know what I mean? Like, not everybody's gonna like my face, right? Not everybody's gonna like the way I view life. But I always say you cannot refund the money. You cannot refund music because you already heard it, and that was the message, especially for people that put music out.
I mean, I think, since I've been doing YouTube and stuff like that, I've had a few negative comments. Not many though, and I think with music, at least most people are they're either into it or they're not, and the people that want to give you a hassle because they just don't like your song or they don't like your face or whatever. They're few and far between, but they're just nothing. They're not part of it. They're not part of the scene. They're not worth worrying about. And actually, sometimes it's just funny. Like, I mean, I had one comment. I think it just, for one song, it just said, "Just annoying." Okay.
Just annoying.
Yeah, those two words, just annoying.
Oh my god!
But I thought, well, if it annoyed you that much that you had to type something, then fair enough. But I'm not going to lose any sleep.
I mean, that's a lot of energy. Look, I catch myself trolling people all the time too. Like, I'm just saying, that's why I had to like cut off a few things from my life. But anyways, again, like they can't get it back. It's annoying. It's whatever. But but shout out to you, because there's people out there that would have just gave up off of those two words.
Yeah, it's not worth it. There are so many more people that will potentially be into will love what you do. You know what I mean? So it's not worth worrying about those, I don't think.
I love the fact that I don't even have to ask this next question because it just starts with artists love to escape life. But if you escape life, that means there's no instruments. There's no music. There's no, you know, thing. But I do got to ask, what does Steve do when he's not doing music? What are the other things you like to do?
Well, I mean, the music's very, very all encompassing. However, I've got quite a few interests. I mean, I really like things like science. I like philosophy. I'm a podcast junkie for stuff like that.
Oh, yes.
Um,
Some of
I,
my
I
favorite ones are exactly what you said.
yeah,
I want to give him a shout out whenever, but go ahead.
yeah. So I love stuff like I love reading. I've got a family, no kids, but I've got a partner and 2 dogs, a cat, and some fish. So they're a big part of my life. The local community is, although that's really all music based, to be honest. But I love where I live. It's a beautiful place as well. We've got hills and sort of semi countryside on this side of Manchester. So yeah, there's a lot of ways to escape, although music doesn't need escaping. It's just the things you sometimes write about that might need escaping.
We have one comment here from the Netherlands. My boy Soken, username on Twitch, says to talk to that. I think he was talking about the comments. What you do not like today, you might be in the mood for at another time. Having a tune in your ear is worth it, even if it's a negative experience at first. Songs that meant nothing in my teens mean something today. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Completely true. So just listen, and if you got a bad comment, come back. Write it anyway. It's gonna.
Yeah, fair enough.
We're gonna take a little break real quick. I want to introduce this song.
Mutual pretense is boundless. Temporality is the greatest sin. I take a look around now. The mist enshrouds the view. I clutch at straws to find me, and I always think of you. A mile upstream, I'm in now, running hard away from school with tears. I ventured to the hollow, where you show me love for all these years.
River was the first song that I actually listened to of yours. Even though you sent me everything else, I went straight to River. And I was like, okay, we got one. We're sitting there. We're keeping it similar. We're yelling and coming back. And wait, what is he doing? Right? So I'm like, wait, is this a simulation of what it is to be in a river? Is that what is he doing? What is he doing here? Anyways.
Well, I'll tell you. Yeah, so River's an older song of mine. It's kind of a concept, but it's very personal. It's really, imagine your life as a river, and all the moments of your life could be like access. So like, if you go a mile upstream, you're 8 years old.
Yeah.
And you can kind of imagine or think about what was happening then. If you go a mile downstream, now you're 15, and so it's just kind of like is what was something I was imagining to kind of reflect on certain moments in my life. So it's kind of a metaphorical device, I guess, in that way. But really, the song is about some things that happened to me, like in my formative years, as it were. And that one of the main things is that, like, my grandma, who was like she was like my second mum. She raised me, and she died when I was like 25, and that's when I wrote that song. And it's just reflecting on these early times in my life, and also like thinking about her and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just a personal song in that way.
Wow. Wow. Way to pay tribute to grandma.
Yeah.
Wow. Had me messed up for a second. I'm saying here, like, okay, we're here, and then we're there, and then we're calm, and then we're mad again, and we're happy again. And I'm like, oh, okay. I see where I see what he's doing here. You know, it's almost right before the chorus where it calms down, and then it's just like it gets yo, and I'm like, woo, we're back on it. You know.
Yeah.
So, if you guys are just tuning in, STE Morris here talking to us, all the way from the UK, Manchester area specifically, and you know, we're just chit chatting. We've talked about a lot of things, borderline current events. I know we're there. I know it's killing us really in the heads. Like, I really want to just drop kick a few people, but I want to get away with it. You know, I want to drop kick a few and just, you know, go on with my day. But that's not real life. There are so many themes or stories that you haven't touched on yet. What in your life are there stories that you want to bring out that we should be anticipating in some of your new releases?
Yeah. So what I'm working on at the moment, so that I've got a single that's going to be coming out in a couple of weeks, which is a bit of an odd song for me, because it's quite long. It's a bit more rock than some of the others. But what it is I already mentioned my local pub, which is called the Railway. It's also a music venue.
Yeah.
And in there, there's a every Thursday night there's go. You get up, you play, and it's wonderful. And I've written this song as really a tribute to that night and to that venue. But I talk about like the characters that go in there and play music.
Can only imagine.
But there's so many of them. There's so many of them that the song's quite long. It's like a 6-minute. But really, it's just a tribute to that place. So that'll be coming out very soon. Other than that, I'm working on my first solo album, which I'm right in the middle of now. We've tracked all the drums and bass, and I'm doing all overdubs and stuff like that. And there's a few poignant songs in there for me. One of them I mentioned is called Demons, which is really about the current situation, the race to super intelligent AI. So that's in there, and I'm really proud of that one. Actually, I think it's a lovely song. And we've got there's another quite personal one in there called The Call of the Void, which actually wrote when one of my dogs died a few years ago. And it's not really about that. It's just that the emotion of that triggered this. The call of the void is kind of a phrase that you find in philosophy circles, and it's really like about uncontrollable urges. Like, you know, if it sounds a bit macabre, but you imagine like you're walking you're on a bridge and you're walking over and you just get this thought in your head, you just jump off. You know what I mean? You don't do it. You get that thought in your head. And I suffer from that, particularly with heights, funnily enough. But it's really about that, and it's about the idea of just sort of not necessarily literally, but figuratively throwing your life away. Like, you could just, I don't know, you could just give up and move to Iceland or something, So that one's quite important to me as well. There's like 11 songs on there. I can't go through them all, but there's all sorts of items like
So
that going on.
we got some themes coming. Oh my gosh. And they're all over the place.
Yeah.
Steve, thank you so much for coming on here, talking to us about so many things. And believe it or not, dogs and a fish is a family, okay? So we know that. If we were to give the option for people to know STE Morris for the very first time, what songs should they start with and why?
I was going to say Foxtrot and a Pint Pot, but I've changed my mind. I'm going to say River based on our discussion because that really is probably the most personal song. So if you want to know me, maybe listen to that song first, and you'll get halfway there. So,
STE Morris, everybody, thank you so much. I want people to understand this is a very active artist. Okay, this is not somebody that is just started something, listens to other artists. If you're an artist, there's possibilities, doing something together. Who knows, right? But you're jamming together. STE Morris has been part of so many bands in the local area and is getting his name out there now through the platforms that we all try to do, but he's doing it in very, very in an honest way, which is really good to see. And I do appreciate you taking the time because if you guys didn't know, I put a post out and Steve said, "Oh, let's go see what's up with this guy right here." Right?
Yeah.
Let's go see what's it. I don't know how honest we sounded, but I hope that we had an honest experience. And I want people to understand that we are out there for unsigned artists just like yourself to get your stories out there. Thank you so much, Steve. I'm gonna do an outro on you, okay? This is our conversation. Well, wait, hold on. You got something?
No, I was just going to say thank you, Dave. It's been a wonderful conversation.
Oh, definitely. We're definitely gonna try to link up before you throw a holiday album out there. Before, because I'm sure there's at least 2 or 3 of them on the stash that you got. You know what I mean? And I love holiday music, just to let you know. So,
Okay.
but Steve, you don't have to stay here for this outro. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you, Dave. Cheers.
That was our conversation with STE Morris here on QSJ Radio's MadLuh, digging up the underground. Today we talked about the creative process behind the Foxtrot and the Pint Pot, the emotional weight behind songwriting, the challenging of surviving as an unsigned artist in the streaming area, and the importance of music that leaves something lasting with the listener. Thanks to STE Morris for taking time to share the stories behind the music and allowing us to dig deeper into the artistry behind the sound. You can discover more of STE Morris through streaming platforms and social medias linked through the official link tree. Till next time, this is QSJ Radio. We dig into the underground to uncover independent artists, creative voices, and the stories that shape the music you don't hear anywhere else.